Alright, hey y'all, welcome to my channel, Sessions with Simone. I am Deja Simone, and today we're going to be talking about what they did not tell you when you were coming to college. Now this is a part one. I'm going to have multiple parts because there's so much that they do not tell you in so many different aspects. But today I'm going to be talking about what they didn't tell you about coming to college and the aspect of your spirituality or you as an individual person and figuring out who you were. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video and I will see you next time. The first thing is, they didn't tell you that when you're a child and you're growing up in secondary school, you are conditioned to your environment, to your parents, to your peers, and to your teacher. That's your environment, you know, your neighborhood, your community. So you're conditioned to what those people believe in your town, wherever you are from. So that doesn't necessarily mean that what you guys think, that what you think wherever you're from, whatever city you're from, applies to every city. If you're moving away for college, it's completely different and you're going to have to learn more than just your school as you go along through the years. So in secondary school, you don't really have to, which I didn't realize until I got to college, obviously, you don't really have to think much for yourself. Someone is always telling you what to do. When you go to college, they don't tell you that you are literally torn, okay? You know how when the, what's that movie? I'm seeing the rabbits. I'm seeing the rabbits, the white rabbits, us. You're tethered, you're literally tethered to your family. And then when you go to college and you move away and you go, especially if you go to another city like me, you are just torn, torn from your usual structure. So if you are similar to me and what I've observed about me, my approval, a lot of my approval for myself, a lot of my self-worth lied in the hands of my parents and family, because growing up, they told me who I was. Call it fans. Those are your fans. So once you get to college, all that approval, all that self-worth, all that cheering on, all that celebration for you is gone. Nobody's here to do that. The environment of how are you, how do you feel today, is the genuine how are you is gone. You literally have to account for your own livelihood. You have to figure out food. And I know it may sound so simple, but food is the most confusing thing I have had to figure out. Buying food, groceries, what I want to eat. When do I want to eat? I'm used to people telling me, you go to A lunch, you go to B lunch, you go to C lunch. You have to figure out how much sleep do you need to be able to function the next day. Another thing they don't tell you, I didn't know how to do my own hair. I didn't know how to take care of my hair. Didn't know how to moisturize my hair. Still don't halfway. Where am I going to get my hair done? Who can I trust with my hair? Where's the hair store? So they didn't tell you that you would have to figure out how to do your own hair. Nobody told me that. You are obligated to clean up your own space. And if you have a roommate, your roommate's space. Because if you want a nice home, if you want a nice environment, a clean environment, you have to make that. Your mom's not going to go get up and clean your room, clean your clothes, make up your bed when you leave because you didn't feel like doing it, wash the dishes for you. Nobody's going to do that. When you use that dish, it's going to sit there. The big one for me, and probably the one that actually hurt my feelings, the more spiritual level the most, is you are obligated to keep contact and maintain relationships with your friends and your family back home. That is your responsibility. In my head, I'm like, I'm going to college. Is somebody going to check on me? Anybody going to ask me if I'm okay? Is anybody going to ask me if I got gas in my car? And then when I was going back home, I was getting hit with the, I haven't heard from you in 3-4 months. And I'm like, I haven't heard from you in 3 or 4 months. I'm waiting for you to hit my phone, and apparently that's my responsibility. Because when you go away, it can look like you don't care about anybody else. who is back home. You done left them behind, back of your mind. Like, I actually had a lot of responsibilities on the other side that I never had before. It's like you're in a bubble, a stress bubble. You have to call the people, check on them, see if they're okay. Because a lot of things, life still goes on, right? And life gets faster. It literally gets faster. Life still goes on. Health complications and family goes on. COVID could happen. Anything could happen while you're gone. Car accidents could happen. Losing jobs could happen. A lot of stuff can happen in other people's lives that are back home too. So you just have to be conscious of your life before you got here, and remember that there are people who genuinely know you and genuinely support you back home. You have to figure out, what do I like to do? What do I like to do to relax? Not feel bored, to not feel useless. Journey, I had to figure out what I like to do. So I actually do like to read, but I'm not a reading nerd. I've never been someone who could just read a book in a week. Some people read a book in a day. I've never been that person. So I had to figure out, I like to read, but I do like to pace myself and read when I feel like reading. I do like to make YouTube videos, but when is the right time? What is the right thing to say? What is not the right thing to say? There's just a lot that you have to figure out what you like to do. What do you... Church. I grew up in the church, going to church at least 5 days a week until I was like 15, 16. When I got in tough spots, being that I already know God, I already know who He is, I don't know everything obviously, but I have a relationship with God, I had to figure out how to have a comfortable relationship with God. When I was a child, having a relationship with God, being in church, was very uptight. It was very polished. It was very on a thin line. It was very, you can't go outside of these lines. You can't do these things. You can't wear these things. You can't say these things. You can't look this way. You can't do your makeup this. You know, there's a lot of things that you can and cannot do in church. In the state that I'm in now, I've really just been picturing God as a friend so that I can actually relax and talk to Him. The Baptist sector of Christianity was so rigid, extremely rigid, and God is not rigid. You have to figure out how to create your relationship with God, where to find a church. I personally wanted a church that had a black pastor. I don't care about who goes to the church. I want a black pastor. For me, finding a church was very based off feeling. It was very based off, how do I feel? Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel judged? Can I wear anything? I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be in an Easter dress. My mom would literally lose her mind. But can I come to your church in sweatpants? That's my part one of what they didn't tell you about college. I really hope y'all like enjoyed this part one. I have a lot more to come. I wanted to communicate with that with y'all because you have to learn all these things in 4 years. And if you're someone like me who's graduating early, I'm having to learn all this in 3 years. And the expectation for me to have learned all of this and to be able to take care of myself without assistance from my family, from my parents, is expected of me at the end of year 3. So that has been very overwhelming for me. It still is overwhelming for me. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video on what they do not tell you about college. I have probably 2 or 3 more parts left to come because I do want to give you a solution kind of video as well. I don't want to just throw out all these problems and be like, figure it out. So thank you for coming to a session with Simone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.